Revival or resistance? That is the question facing the American people as another July 4th comes and goes. Welcome back into Liberty Nation Radio, a production of LibertyNation.com and heard from coast to coast on the Radio America Network. As a nation more divided by the day, are we headed for a revival of or resistance to the nation's founding principles? We'll explore that question from multiple angles with Sarah Cowgill, Jeff Charles, and Scott Cosenza of LibertyNation.com as we ask the question, what does it mean to be a patriot circa 2019?
Say what? Say what? Say what? One more time.
But we kick things off with our signature segment, Say What, as we roll out some of the most wacky, astonishing, damnable, and ultimately revealing things uttered by politicians and the chattering class. Much to the chagrin of his many critics, President Trump delivered a July 4th stemwinder at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington with soaring rhetoric honoring the nation's heritage of freedom.
With a single sheet of parchment and 56 signatures, America began the greatest political journey in human history. As the delegates debated the Declaration in Philadelphia, Washington's army watched from Manhattan as a massive British invading fleet loomed dangerously across New York Harbor. The British had come to crush the revolution in its infancy. Washington's message to his troops laid bare the stakes. He wrote, "The fate of unborn millions will now depend under God on the courage and conduct of this army. We have therefore to resolve to conquer or die." The faraway king would soon learn a timeless lesson about the people of this majestic land. Americans love our freedom, and no one will ever take it away from us.
Sure seemed like a harmless speech, even for those afflicted with Trump derangement syndrome. But of course, that was not the case over at the headquarters of the resistance, CNN, where the talking heads criticized Trump for everything from the military themes to the simplistic speechwriters.
I'm just troubled about the militaristic tone of this whole thing. First, we were treated to essentially eighth grade history that was fairly sepia-toned and saccharine. I heard nothing other than a pledge to put the American flag on Mars. I heard nothing in this speech about where this country should be going.
It reminds you that his speechwriters are not the best in the business. Other presidential speechwriting teams have been a whole lot better. Sometimes it just seems like he's reading a Wikipedia page about historical events.
It almost felt at times like the president was sort of like, oh wow, look at all these things that America has done. His whole pitch going back 3 years has been make America great again. If you listen to that speech, turns out America was great the whole time.
Let me be subtle here. At a professional level, 25 years in national security, I hated it. At a personal level, I hated it more.
Sure you did. That's why you're on CNN, where if Trump walked on water, the headline would likely be that he can't swim. But some Trump haters couldn't even wait for Trump's actual speech to attack the president, like far-left columnist Eugene Robinson of the once credible Washington Post, who got all hot and bothered on MSNBC when plans for the celebration were first announced.
To take this and to make it into what seems to be kind of a combination Trump rally and Kim Jong-un style military parade of hardware and equipment with Sherman tanks, which is ridiculous. It's just obscene.
Obscene. Trump's patriotic celebration, just obscene. But that's just a reminder of how the American flag has become anathema to the left-wing resistors, as we witness from the famed shoe company Nike, who pulled an entire line of shoes that were set to be released because the sainted Colin Kaepernick objected to their inclusion of the Betsy Ross flag from revolutionary times with 13 stars emblazoned on the back. and radical race baiters like Michael Eric Dyson on MSNBC piled on, saying that flag is a symbol of white supremacy.
It's the recent use of this flag that has been most opprobrious. Right-wing white supremacists have used it as a rallying cry for their own cause. So right now, this flag has been used by people who want to pummel African Americans, Latinx, Jews, and other people, neo-Nazis who want to claim that they have their true copyright on American identity. Words matter, symbols matter too. Why don't we wear a swastika for July 4th?
Opprobrious. Very impressive. Folks, these are the kind of people who want to run the country. People who believe that a celebration of all things American is really just an extended racist dog whistle. And we witnessed another iteration of the love and tolerance and blissful diversity of the far left in recent days, when a meek conservative journalist just covering a protest in Portland, Oregon, a gay journalist at that, was savagely attacked by a gang of hooded Antifa thugs, and Andy Ngo lived to tell about it on Fox News.
While hearing people chant, "No hate, no fear," I'm suddenly bashed on the back of my head. A mob of people, all dressed in black and wearing masks, started beating me with their fists, and some of them used objects to hit me. I put my arms up to try to shield my face, as well as to signal to them that I was surrendering and that I wasn't there to fight, but that really signaled to them to be more aggressive. So then they started dumping eggs, throwing it at my face, which blinded me, and I was kicked some more, punched some more, and all this time I kept thinking, where are the police?
There, my friends, is the tolerant, loving resistance, fomenting violence, just the kind of people who stoked the infamous conflagration in Charlottesville when they initiated violent attacks against white supremacists and turned a protest by people legitimately upset about the removal of historical statues, along with a group of extreme wackos who could have simply been shamed by ignoring them, into a national disgrace. And we'll be back to ask the question, what does it mean to be a patriot circa 2019?
Exhausted by all the fake news? On LibertyNation.com's YouTube channel, facts and fresh, bold analysis are what you get without the leftist spin. Subscribe today to the LibertyNation.com YouTube channel, because
Truth is making a comeback.